My life for the Horde. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We're in the plan, folks. This is my weekly show that I talk about the different news and speculations and things from around the community. And there's not been a lot of CG specific news, but there's a lot to talk about today. So let's actually just jump right into it. We'd love feedback, guys. You still liking this show? So it seems like viewership has been going well, but you never know. I would love feedback. Also, as a way of me getting feedback, thank you guys so much. We just finally hit 13,000 subs on this channel. 13K has been great. It's been the last 100 has been a tumultuous, tempestuous time to be a content creator, folks. There's been a lot of frustrated people who are unsubbing their content creators, and if you're not part of the boycott or whatever, people have been angry. I've seen a couple content creators who have literally lost 300 subs. I thought I was gonna get stuck at 12,900 until we finally had a breakthrough today. So really appreciate everyone. Just remember, if you want to support this channel for free, all you gotta do, thumbs up, sub things, do something new and crazy, guys. Ding that bell if you're brave. One day I will be brave like you, but until that day, I still haven't ring it on any channel, so don't bother. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. 13,000. I clearly couldn't have done this without you, and this has been such a ride. Thank you so much. Truly, I am just overwhelmed by how awesome this whole experience has been. So thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, so this is, I don't know. I like the idea of the potential for something to be perfect, and I found this mod the other day, and so it's rolled twice, which means that it was a +5 to start with, and it rolled 2 6s, and if I get it to 6E and I roll another 2 6s, it could get up to +30 speed. Now, I've seen this before. It's very, very rare, and I don't think that this mod will actually end up doing that. It's actually just on Bo-Katan right now, which, I mean, frankly, she doesn't deserve anything more than this at this stage, but I like the idea of this, guys, so I'll start rolling it one at a time. Hopefully I'll just update you guys on it weekly, but one way or another, this is a cool thing. You should look in your rosters and see how many mods like this do you have. Sort by speed and see how many of these, how many mods do you have that are 17 with 3 rolls. Just check it out, guys. It's kind of a fun pursuit, and this mod has a ton of potential. Whether or not it reaches that potential is another question, but I do like the idea of it. We recently had an assault battle that, I mean, we see it every month-ish. Night Sisters in Phoenix. CG, could you please make it so that we can just do the other two? Could you, like, why did you make this so stupidly hard? Like, what happened? Could you tell us? Like, it's just annoying, guys. I don't know. Especially because it's like, if anyone was stupid enough to put relics on Phoenix just for this, and then they're just failing, I don't know what to tell you. I feel kind of bad. It's just annoying. Like, they just released a new assault battle, and it's going to be relatively easy to get the 3rd tier once we have the Grand Inquisitor unlocked. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say, guys. This is just frustrating to me. It's irritating. And especially because we can sim these things. CG, can you just have, like, one time that we can all just go in, destroy these, have it on 3-star sim, and move on? I don't know. Or just rework some of it. Or, I don't know. This just feels like CG's just mailing it in. This feels like Lightside territory battles where they're like, you know what? You'll never get the final star until this game is like over. Until everyone has an obnoxious amount of fleet points or whatever, GP. You have to have, like, I don't even know, like, a new capital ship will only add a small percentage to that territory battle. I'll show you. I'll talk about it in the next couple plans, I'm sure. I'll take screenshots. It's frustrating. CG has a few PvE things that I just feel like they've mailed in. It's not the end of the world, still a little frustrating. Alright, so this is kind of interesting, guys. There's this little slideshow that happens in the back of the guild screen, and if you zoom in, you can see eventually you get to this slide, which I've never known this existed. Sorry, I just hit the mic. I hope that wasn't too loud for you guys. But if this is so interesting to me that the first Han Solo unlock, which is 5 stars, you got it from the Rancor back when the Rancor was actually difficult, before the level cap was even at 85. And it's by this Yuku Kase guy, which I'm guessing he's just gone. I have this vague memory of a guy who used to just raid all the time. Like, he used to just leave his guild and go to the next guild and help, just jump from guild to guild and unlock things. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Maybe that story is just a myth, but this is a very interesting thing because there's nothing else like this on this little slideshow that happens. It's all guild comparisons, all top leaderboard stuff, which is fine. This is just a very interesting thing. Like, how long ago? I mean, this game is almost 7 years old, and so this unlock must have been, 6 years ago or more. And they've kept this slide. I just thought it was cool. I'd never seen this before, didn't know it existed. There's no other slides like this. There's not like Grandmaster Yoda or Emperor Palpatine or General Kenobi unlock. It's just this and a bunch of leaderboard stuff. So, just a cool little thing that I thought maybe I'd point out if you guys hadn't seen it before. Alright, so kind of the meat of our discussion here. People have been talking about how, it's a frustrating time. People haven't enjoyed the Grand Inquisitor. They haven't enjoyed Datacrons, or at least, they're resisting this, all this stuff. And I don't want to get into all of that necessarily today. We'll talk about it a little bit toward the end when we're talking about the wisdom from Reddit. But here's the thing, guys. People have said it's frustrating, especially because we haven't gotten the updates that CG promised. Like, CG promised us a bunch of gear, catch-up mechanics, not mustard mechanics, guys. CG has promised us this stuff, and we're not getting it. And so I thought maybe I'll just go look at the CG posts and see, how reasonable are people being about this? Because there's been a lot of other things in the past where CG has kind of nodded to it, but as we saw in the last episode of the plan from last week, people have been taking things that CG say out of context. I mean, there's been certain amounts of well, okay, I can see how you think that. I can understand how you think CG's being disingenuous, but there's been some things that it's well, they didn't really say that. They never said that. Yes, we would like that. Yes, maybe it's reasonable to kind of think that they said that, but in reality, there's a lot of things that CG just never said, and the community has misinterpreted it to the extreme. So I thought I'd look and see if the community is actually being reasonable this time. So what did CG promise gear-wise? Are we going to get catch-up mechanics? Is it important to them? Should we be getting them? Etc. Let's take a look, guys. So from September 29th, 2021, they're talking about there's going to be a multi-phase rollout for gear stuff, catching up to gear, catch-up mechanics, new players entering the game and being able to catch up to endgame players, or at least to the endgame at some point. So phase 1 update represents a starting point to begin addressing many of your core concerns around gear. This is September 29th, of course. Multi-phase gear update. So this is a different part of the same post. It is time we talk about gear in Galaxy of Heroes. Today we are announcing a series of changes coming to gear over the next several months that are aimed at accomplishing the following goals. Allow newer players to progress faster, accelerate all players' ability to unlock and engage with relics, ease the older gear hurdles, but keep it valuable. So, great, they announced it, end of September last year. That's actually getting pretty close to a full year ago, but they did announce it. Then in October 26th, they updated it. This week's title update kicks off Phase 1 of the gear changes. Many items discussed in the State of the Gearlaxy will go in effect with the update, and the rest. This is all, by the way, when they released Relic 9, I believe. So, with the droid brains and stuff, our goal is that players feel a noticeable change in the daily, weekly, and monthly gear flows and speed up all players' ability to dive deeper into the relic system, which I think we experienced. We got the Phase 1, kind of fast forwarding to right now, we got the Phase 1, which is great. Like, we're still getting it. There's, the different challenges, the different daily stuff. There's been a lot of cool stuff in terms of gear, like stun guns are no longer a thing. However, this is Phase 1. It's called Phase 1 for a reason. Phase 2 is implied. So we go for a while without hearing from them, like their holiday season of them just being quiet. Maybe I missed one in the middle. I don't remember now. I feel like I screenshotted something. Maybe it didn't come into this slideshow. Anyways, in February, they said, while there are exciting new characters and modes coming, we also have several initiatives from last year to continue to push forward the next phase of the gear intervention. Grand Arena update, the Omicron, blah, blah, blah. So we got Omicrons, we got the Grand Arena update, but this is the last time they mention it, guys. Because when we hit March, they do the road ahead, and this is the closest they come to mentioning it in the road ahead here. March 22, road ahead, we have, thanks for reading it, we have a ton of exciting plans for this year, and we'll have more to share via the next road ahead in June. This is so they didn't really mention it. They're like, tons of exciting plans, which could, you could make a very weak argument that that's what they were intending. Like, hey, there's something, we could talk about that, The gear intervention, that's part of it. But then, yeah, okay, so we won't talk about that question quite yet. So then in the June one, we got Datacrons, we got Grand Inquisitor, we got them talking about Star Wars Celebration. We were there. We talked to people, and there was actually a report, which I don't think is a super someone came and disingenuously asked them, like, when are we getting gear updates? And the second they were like, I don't know, like they came and posted it on Reddit, and they were like, hey, guys, we're not getting them because screw the devs. Like, it was. Maybe it had accurate information, but it was too biased for me to actually want to pay any attention to it, frankly. Even if I think that we should be getting this gear. So, all right. So where does this leave us, guys? CG. Last time they mentioned it was even in February. So I guess there's a couple different questions here, guys. That first off, has CG actually forgotten it? Because someone says from Celebration that they think that's already rolled out and they're done. I mean, if that's true, that's a little disturbing. They said that they were going to, and they're not going to now. We at least should have that addressed. I feel like they made it a point to address it in several different subsequent posts, like, hey, gear updates. We're going to have more stuff. We're going to have more catching up mechanics. And so there's that. The other question is, should we actually, what's my opinion on it? And my opinion is that I do think we need some more of that, even though my main account doesn't need it, really. Frankly, I have 1,000 Carbanti, I have 1,000 of each of the Kairos, I have 12 or 1,300 of Cuffs, and I know that there are other people out there who are like, yeah, those are rookie numbers, you gotta bump those up. I don't need them. I don't need this gear stuff, the gear event, but I think the game benefits from it. We really need new players to feel like they can ever get to the end game. I know that there are people, and this frustrates me, because people are like, should I start the game? And people are like, no way, man, I would never start if I was a new player. There's just no way. No way, because you could never get to the end game. And whereas I think that it's hyperbole and frustrating that people are being like that, because they don't know. You have no idea. You don't want to start a new account? Well, no crap. You've been playing for 5 years. Maybe just cool it. But I mean, the point is well taken that if you start a new account, it's going to take a few years to actually feel like you have a, you finally start having a couple Galactic Legends, you have some good fleets, you can actually have conversations with endgame players and know what they're talking about. It would be nice if they could accelerate that process. It's a 7-year-old game, 6.5-year-old game, and we need new blood. We need, people quit the game, even if the game is in a perfect place, which I'm not saying it is. I know that there is frustrations and people are quitting. I think that we should get, people are quitting. We need new blood to replace them. That's just how this sort of thing works. So I do think that they need to do that. Not to mention they had a couple really bad, unpopular rollouts. At least if you're listening, there's a lot of really vocal people who really hate the latest updates. And I get it. Like we've had an Inquisition faction that doesn't feel fun. We also, in addition to the Inquisition faction that doesn't feel fun, we also have a Datacron thing, which a lot of players don't feel like we need. I think it could potentially hold more promise than it initially looked like, but that's beside the point right now. Who knows? Who knows? People, they're not popular right now, that's for damn sure. At least, not with a huge part of the player base. And I think that a huge win for CG and for the player base is if CG was like, hey, okay, I know we've just released all this stuff because we got to make money, which is reasonable in my opinion. They need to make money, but it would be a huge win if they were just like, all right, guys, here's phase 2. Here it is. Just start rolling it out. I think that would be huge. That would be really nice. Update for like the one thing that I keep thinking, I think every day because I do dailies, do the fleet challenges where update it so that when we get ship credits or whatever it is, the training credits, or training droids, whatever, update that. Give us something cool there to be excited for that day. Because otherwise it's like, oh, cool, I got like one of these things that I have like trillions of already. So, there's that, guys. I think that should exist. I think we absolutely should. I think we should get more stuff for everyone. So, otherwise, the other question is, all right, a lot of people don't want this new content stuff, right? Or the stuff that they're passing off as content. Like Datacrons are kind of, all of it's content, right? It really is. Like Datacrons, it's new. It is content in a technical sense, but it's not a new game mode. I think that's basically what people mean when they say new game, when they want new content. It's not a new game mode. New characters are not content in terms of, is it a new game mode? Is it new, fresh, and exciting? What is? So we get this gear stuff, and we don't want new characters and stuff. Do we really want new content? That's the question. And what is new content, I guess, is the other question. So new content, in my opinion, you could say, okay, a totally new game mode. They're adding vehicles or something like that. They're adding some kind of like a story mode, something like that. They're adding new passive feats that you have to earn, like all the prestigious feats that you have to kill. You just have to slaughter trillions of beings just to be able to say that Greedo got his contract 500 times. It's ludicrous, but that might be new content. Or maybe a new stage of territory battles might be another one, give us Endor, for instance. The question is, do we actually want it? Because right now I don't think we have time. I don't feel like I have time. I want something that saves my time. I don't want more. People have been saying well, they're clearly not giving us enough content if you have alts and stuff. But the problem is, I wouldn't play my alt. I already gave up one of my alts. I wouldn't play my other alt unless I had someone helping me run it. It's just that simple. So, do we really want it? I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments. Do we want new content? If yes, how do you want it? Do you want it just new and nothing, just completely new and just on top of all of our other quote-unquote duties in the game? Or do you want it so that we can maybe save some time here and there. Like maybe we can sim territory battles on some levels or whatever. Like there's a certain level of engagement that CG wants us to have as players, and you know, they want us to be in the game. That's a statistic that they brag about all the time. Oh yeah, our players play this game for 2 hours a day or whatever it is. So they're going to want us to keep a certain level of it. The question is, what's sustainable for the player base anyways? I don't really know what I want. I don't know if I want new content. I like what we have right now, and I'm afraid that the player base is going to be like, oh, cool, new content? No, we don't want that. Like, that's happened a lot, actually. People are like, yeah, this is really cool. Like, Conquest? Man, people turned on Conquest so hard. Like, we got new Conquest? Yay, Conquest! It got boring? Oh my gosh. Screw you, CG. How dare you make us engage in this new game mode that we asked for. Alright guys, let's move on. Wisdom from Reddit. These are all just topics from Reddit here that I thought warranted a small comment at least. So I'm not giving any names of any of the people posting this, other than there's one really positive one that I'll show you guys in a minute, which I think warrants it. So from Reddit, this is from the CG, or from the Galaxy of Heroes subreddit. So the header is, remember when CG still cared about us? And then as a post from February of 2019 talking about General Grievous's damage and stuff. It's a kind of a nice crawl through his kit, through his mechanics and stuff, because they just reworked it and stuff. And you know, remember guys, back like 3 years ago, CG actually liked us. They liked us. They cared about us. I feel like this is really disingenuous. CG doesn't care, like, they care about us because we make them money. I think that there's a lot of individuals at CG who care about the community and about how individuals in the community feel. And I think that in terms of making money, they want to engender a certain amount of goodwill toward themselves, of course, just like as a pragmatic business sense. But when CG still cared about us, I mean, Crumb is still doing cool stuff. He's still coming out and talking in the community. Like, there are certain people in CG who actually do care. And just because they don't do deep dives on mechanics all the time, frankly, they never did that anyways. This is like a one-in-a-lifetime thing, period. I feel like this is something that we don't need. It would be nice. We don't absolutely need. And this is hyperbole. Alright, someone asking, is this the worst state Swaga has ever been in? And this was really interesting because this is from a player who's played for a year and a half, and it's funny because year and a half, like, wow, that's like half the lifespan of most players in a certain game. Like 3 years on a mobile game is about what you can expect. So you think that they're a veteran, but when you look in terms of like someone who's been playing for 6 years, like a year and a half isn't that much for perspective. And so, you know, the usual arguments of like, well, people are mad, people in my guild are angry, they're saying things that are making them mad, people are quitting, etc. And then what was interesting to me was the comments, and a lot of people were like, it's really, I mean, they were all very measured in their responses, which surprised the hell out of me, because usually the Reddit's just a hive of scum and villainy. It's disgusting there. And it's just funny because the comments were actually, I was like, well, there's some people who are acting like pieces of, you know, but I thought there was actually a little bit of reasonable discussion here. I don't think that it's the worst state Galaxy of Heroes has ever been in. There's been some truly remarkable times that I was like, holy cow, people are angry. You know, there were certain content creators who had a huge mouthpiece who were just like proclaiming from the top of the hills that CG was dead and they were dying, and I don't know. This seems like it's something that's going to blow over. Not to say that the community has invalid wants and desires. I think like the gear thing. CG, what are you doing? Get us gear, for crying out loud. Like, if you're going to do it and talk about it that much, like, maybe follow through, or at least just tell us that we're not getting it. Alright, so how to make Conquest worth playing again. Crystals, that's the whole post. Crystals! That will solve Conquest's problems. Conquest is already very worth playing. I don't enjoy it, really, and I hate that it's more grindy now because of datacrons, but crystals, sure, like, worth playing again is just really, I don't like that. Like it's, this is the hive of scum and villainy kind of thing here, guys. No, crystals won't fix conquest one way or another. Sure, I'd love a little bit more, a few more crystals, but you're already unlocking some of the most powerful and useful characters in the game. CG has done a great job of making it worthwhile playing, and that's why we complain. If it was not worthwhile to play, I would love that. I would love it if I got all that time back. That'd be cool. As it is, now I have to engage. Worth playing again is disingenuous as well. Alright, this person's saying goodbye, farewell, and may the force be with you. Now datacrons. Okay, so talking about Lord Vader is finally... there's a few other things. This person's quitting, that's fine. Like, people should be able to quit, whatever, no hard feelings. But they're saying Lord Vader is fixed. He's buffed now, finally. Finally he's buffed because of datacrons. And I've noticed that lately, actually. I think Lord Vader is much more difficult to remove because of datacrons. There's a lot of datacrons out there that really help him, and it's very interesting. I mean, you have to wonder if that's why CG hasn't nerfed anything. They knew that datacrons were coming, and they're like, oh man, okay, like Lord Vader is just give him like some minimally strong datacrons and he's gonna be ridiculous, because for now he is very difficult to kill. There is no other galactic legend out there right now that I fear more than Lord Vader, and that sounds crazy because Jedi Master Kenobi got a huge buff, and so did Rey. Those two are scary, but Lord Vader, man, it's tough to clean him up. It really truly is very difficult. If you mess up, there's not many counters that are going to save you. A couple galactic legends, not even all of them. So, just an interesting thought. We'll expand on more on that at some other point in time. But Lord Vader did get buffed by datacrons, that's for damn sure. And I think it's an interesting discussion to have. Is that actually good? I'm not sure. Alright, this whole guild, the Big Chbosky. I know a lot of people from the Big Chbosky who do not like datacrons. Sorry, let me rewind. I know a lot of people from this guild, and I respect basically all of the people from it that I know. So, the fact that they have this feedback, remove datacrons from territory wars. This is a pretty fun statement from all their officers. And I don't know. I don't know how much I care, frankly. I don't care about territory wars as much. I know that we won recently a territory war with my casual territory war guild because we have a big guild and we had good datacrons, and we beat a guild that normally would have beat us, I think, because they're go-getters, but they didn't have the right datacrons. I don't know how I feel about this, guys. You can't remove. You have to. So the way they designed it has to work in territory wars and GAC. I would personally prefer they just pull the whole thing up, but if they're not going to do that, I just don't think that this is based in reality. Unfortunately, I would love for CG to engage the community in a discussion like this, but I think that territory war officers are just. They're just in for a world of pain right now. They've been in a world of pain for a while, though. Not to say that they should be, but all right. This is finally. Let's end on the wisdom from Reddit on a positive note. So, essentially, guys, you can read the caption itself. This guy got married. They met. The couple met through their guild. And you can see, this cool little picture of their accounts with their rings and everything. This was really neat, guys. I just thought it was cool. So that's why the person's name is in here. But one thing I do want to note, guys, on the top right, so CG actually replied to this. And I thought this was cool because CG does actually listen to what we have to say and read it. Whether or not they actually do anything about it is another matter. I mean, I don't expect them to post on any of my YouTube stuff. I don't expect them to ever, let me host them on my podcast or anything. But I just thought it was cool. And the fact that CG is watching, we need to keep that in mind. they are watching and monitoring. They want the game to be healthy. Whether or not they're doing a good job of it is another question, but they are paying attention at least, and it's nice to see that, you know, this kind of a story is pretty cool. Alright guys, finally for the speculation piece, and this is back to the assault battle. When are we going to get Marin from the Jedi, whatever it's called, the Jedi Fallen Order game? She's a Night Sister, and she thinks she's the last of her kind or something. I forget. It's from it's a while ago that I've actually watched all of the movies and stuff from it, but I feel like we should get her sometime. People have been saying, oh, we're probably going to get Marin, and that would be cool. I would like a boost to Night Sisters. Like, we haven't gotten an Omicron for Night Sisters yet, which I think some of it is CG is just afraid to give us an update, frankly. They don't want to. And other parts of it are, I mean, they don't want to because they know that the Night Sister mechanics are already broken, and they can be broken, and the player base is going to find a way to exploit it. I feel like there's that, but at the same time, maybe it's because they're planning a major update, or just another character to be released to the faction. I would love that if they released Marin and gave us a good GAC Omicron. Well, at least in theory, I would love it. I don't know. Night Sisters can be one of the most tilting squads in the game to play against as well. So, anyways, folks, I've kind of gone over my time. I hope that this was interesting to you. I don't know. Let me know what you want more of in the plan. We'd love to hear back from you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.